the biggest change for me with social media and crisis comms is the ability to spot things before they become an issue. So it's a massive early warning device, and if you're doing a good job and looking out for your brand or your company or the issue that you manage, then it gives you a temperature check as to has something changed and do you need to do something about it. Just the counter to that, it's very easy to get dragged into things and think they are a crisis when really it's just people talking to themselves. So as a temperature check, you need to compare it to other things that are going on in your business. So are people ringing your contact centre? Is the press office phone ringing off the hook? Or are people just talking about it generally at the, at the water cooler? So it's definitely helped in terms of getting to things before you have the press office phone ringing and being able to spot that and do something about it. Yeah, so I think for us, Horsemeat was really interesting because actually when you compared what customers were saying on social media versus what the media was saying, and when you filtered out people just simply retweeting news articles or retweeting jokes, most of the people who were talking to us directly as a customer were wanting to know where could they get frozen hamburgers from, or why was there no availability of their favourite lasagna. And that then also correlated to how people were talking to us through the contact centres or in the stores. So at each of the morning meetings, we were having sort of daily 8 o'clock and 5 o'clock meetings on the issue for about 3 or 4 weeks. We were able to go in with an analysis of the previous 24 hours, had the mood changed, had the sentiment changed, what were people actually talking about? Because the reality is now everyone's a social media expert, everyone's got their iPhone in front of them, or they're Googling what people are saying, or they've just read something on the BBC News website. And actually being on point for the PR team and being in charge of managing the company's reputation meant you had to be in charge and you had to have a perspective and a point of view and be quite assertive with people around the table as to whether or not it'd gone from being an issue to being a complete crisis. So at what point are you in that curve, and therefore how should the organisation respond, if it should respond at all? So it was fascinating to see, and I have to say that the other supermarkets, Tesco particularly, also did a brilliant job of just getting that balance right, of talking very openly, very honestly about what they were doing, how they were responding, the steps they were taking to put things right, but in a way that felt genuine and human and open and willing to go further in the middle of that issue than they thought they would be dragged. And I think that's key in any crisis. You want to be able to go there willingly yourself and take a position on something rather than be dragged there through the mood of the nation or through the news agenda taking you to that point. And social simply allows you to navigate that probably more coherently than you would have done in the past. Tools are brilliant for spotting content, spotting issues, but you then need people to analyse, is that a false alarm? And also to assess in that heat of that moment when things feel very, very intense. It's very easy to take the wrong call, or similarly to not do anything and be paralysed by that kind of indecision of not knowing what to do right. So I think the tools are important, but there are lots of free tools out there. I mean, Google's fantastic. Even just search on Twitter is great. There are sentiment tools that will help you, but ultimately you just need to be able to quickly, at a glance, how many people are talking about this? How influential are some of those people? And actually, if it's something like when News of the World was collapsing, there were a few, in fact there was one particular person who was tweeting things that were just factually wrong, and it was really important to get to them quickly with the facts. And as soon as we did, then the temperature of the whole debate started to change quite quickly. So, analysis and search tools are really important, but you don't need to spend millions of pounds doing it. You can use free tools pretty effectively, and then make sure your team are taking that temperature check. It's people making the decision based on the facts and the information the tools have thrown up. Every crisis, you need to have a kind of wash-up period after the dust has settled, and to just look at how did you manage it. So where did things go right and where did they go wrong? How could you have perhaps changed the tone of your communication? How could you have reacted quicker? Did you go as far as you needed to go early enough? So in your gut, did you know what the right decision was, but you couldn't persuade others around the table to come with you at that point? And simply, what do you need to fix for next time around? Because there will be a next time. There's always a next time. And there are often similarities in how issues develop and build. And more often than not, you could have spotted them coming if you'd been listening better. So I think the first one is listen all the time, 24 hours a day, you've always got to listen. I think the second one is once something starts to happen, you need the right people around the table very, very quickly. And that needs to be across the organisation who have the ability to make the right decisions. And then the third one, I think, is just be humble and be honest. You know, the more open you are and transparent and honest, then your long-term reputation will reflect that. Even if in the short term that means taking some financial pain or taking some criticism or, you know, operationally having some challenges to face through, if you do take the right call, you can look somebody in the eye 6 months later and say we took the right decision, ultimately that will protect and enhance your reputation. Pleasure.